Hello, fellow homebrewers. JP here, and I want to introduce to you the brand new Brew-Built X1 Conical Series available at More Beer. More Beer sells the highest standard in homebrewing equipment, and the Brew-Built Conicals are just that. They're made from mirror-polished 304 stainless steel, and they come with loads of features that you and I have been looking for. They have a full 2-inch bottom dump valve, which will eliminate your clogging issues, while the sturdy base includes 4 reinforced legs, just like those big Pro tanks do. More Beer also carries the Brew-Built line of options and add-ons like casters, pressure kits, and even external glycol chillers. So you can find out more about the new Brew-Built X1 Conical Unitanks by going over to morebeer.com for detailed videos on the entire line of Brew-Built Conicals. You can trust Brew-Built with your next fermentation, and you can trust More Beer to find the right conical for you. Brew-Built at morebeer.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the session. I'm your host, Justin Crosley. Thanks for hanging out with us today. It's good to be back in the studio. And we have had a string, if I don't say so myself, it's all due to the guests, of excellent shows lately. And today's no exception. One of my favorite breweries. And if I'm honest, the last time this brewery was on the show, they weren't one of my favorite breweries. But not because I didn't love the beer or anything else. They were making beers that I didn't understand yet, or at least they were just newer than me. I was an old guy, I feel like, last time these guys were on. I've got Altamont Beer Works in the studio with me today. Welcome, Steve.
What's up, everyone?
Steve Sartori, founder and brewmaster. We've also got Jake in the studio.
Yo.
You're lucky to be here, Jake. I don't often let sales guys in here, but you were nice.
I weaseled my way in.
I needed someone sitting next to me, you know?
Yeah, the studio's too empty from last time, right?
Yeah.
And then we've got John here, an old friend and customer of the Hop Grenade, now working at Altamont. Welcome, John.
The new guy.
Just
to observe.
That's right. Well, me and Steve will mess with the two of you if we have to.
We're going to educate these two.
That's right. A little hazy. I want to say thanks to our sponsor, More Beer. They've been the sponsor of this show forever, since day zero, and we love them for that. Go check out their YouTube page, Free Beer Friday. Chris Graham gives away all kinds of stuff every Friday. And just, say thanks to the More Beer guys for supporting this show all the time. If you want to support the show yourself, you also can hit the donate button on our homepage, and, $2, $3, we don't care. A lot of you have been doing it for years, and that's why we're still here, so thanks for that. If you don't want to give anything extra, just do your Amazon shopping. Just click the Amazon link on our homepage and then go on about your business like you normally do. I know you all shop on Amazon, so just click my button first and go do that, and then support all of our sponsors. That's a great way to show them that you care. Williams Brewing, Beersmith. Go to beersmith.com, get your free trial of their brewing software. All great ways to support the show. All right. Let's just get right into the beer.
Williams Brewing. I haven't heard that forever.
Right? And they've been with me forever, too.
Yeah. Funny story about them. When I was homebrewing before I started the brewery, my dad's company was in San Leandro, and that was work for my dad. And so one time I was needing something, so I had no idea. I was like, oh, Williams Brewing, they're in San Leandro. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's before I went to Brewmaster.
Oh, yeah.
So I cruise over there, and I'm going to pick up I don't know, 2-row or some dude's like, nah, man, we only ship. And I was like,
oh, right.
But I'm right here.
Here I am, yeah.
I got cash. He's like, sorry, man, we're shipping only. And I was like, what the F?
Yeah, whatever.
So I totally turned me around. And so I'll every time I hear Williams Brewing, I'm like, that was that place. They only do shipping.
Yeah. I've been a supporter for years. Go to williamsbrewing.com.
They got a lot of stuff.
They do, yeah. All right, so I feel like, and my listeners have heard this, but I need to explain my last comment about how now you're one of my favorites, and before you weren't. By the way, we're both drinking one of my favorite brews too, Pale from the Crypt.
Got to give it up.
From Liquid Gravity.
Brendan's the man.
You guys have brewed together before, right?
Yeah, a few, a couple times, yeah.
So when we get into my favorite Altamont beer later.
And we were in their anniversary 4-pack this year.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. Nice.
And then we did a Friends with Social Distances too.
Very nice.
Because that was right when Brendan started.
Yeah.
And we couldn't have him over to brew because that was frowned upon. So we did a friend with social distances with him. So
Yeah.
even though I went to his brewery and we hung out, the week before, but
I sold a lot of friends with social distances during COVID.
Yeah.
And that's a good place for me to explain my new love for Altamont. So I had just kind of gotten over hoppy beers for a while, right? Like I was never an IPA head or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think like last time you were on, it was just like lagers and pale ales. And it's not that I didn't enjoy your beer. In fact, if we go back and listen, I'm sure you hear me say, oh, these are some of the best IPAs ever. But I wasn't like buying them myself.
yeah.
So then a couple years go by and COVID hits, and I'm here at the Hop Grenade slinging cans out the door. That's like the only sales we could do, right?
Sure.
And we sell a lot of Altamont here. I think. So like Russian River is our best seller. Anybody who carries Russian River,
Yeah.
that's just what happens. I think you guys are second, right? So we
Sweet.
sell a lot of Altamont here, and our regulars all
Give it up,
love your
Jake.
beer. Yeah.
Walked right into that. No, cheers to everybody drinking that hop grenade, man.
Yeah.
Straight up.
But people would come in and they'd ask me for recommendations, and for like the first couple weeks, I was kind of lying because I didn't know. I hadn't tasted all the beer, and I
Yeah.
felt like a dick because when I started the Hop Grenade, I was like, listen, you guys need to know the beer. And if you need to crack open some beer or pour it off the tap, talking to my staff, that's fine. Just do that because my customers expect you to know things.
And then here you are, head honcho,
Not knowing
doing your own thing, not knowing any new beer.
Not knowing shit.
Well, when that many cans are being put out,
Right.
it was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I'm taking home a case a night. No,
Yeah.
I wasn't that bad. I was drinking more than usual, like everybody
I mean,
else.
the first 3 weeks was that bad for me. Stressed the hell out. Like,
Fuck yeah, all
oh
of
my
us.
God, I'm losing
The world's
everything.
ending.
I got to tell my wife we lost the business. Then we're losing our house. The kid's not going to go to school anymore. Like,
Absolutely.
what the hell?
We were all drinking.
Everybody's freaking out.
So I start grabbing beers I wouldn't normally grab, and I end up gravitating toward about 4 breweries. Ghost Town,
Of course. Yeah.
who
solid.
just won like Brewery of the Year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Liquid Gravity. I've always, wherever Brendan's ever worked, I've always liked his
Central
beer.
Coast. Yeah, they're making
Yeah.
great beer when he was there.
And that's like his specialty, that the pale ale, kind of my style.
Firestone,
anyway.
baby.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
Firestone baby hasn't made amazing beer on their own?
It's a brewer factory down there. Original Pattern.
Yep.
Right.
Those are- everybody always asks me 2 favorite breweries, around. I'm like, can't go wrong with anything Ghost Town Original Pattern.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I would agree.
For our local market, like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then you guys, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, like all 4 of those breweries kind of have a similar take on beers. Dry, a lot of West Coast,
Yep.
and hop forward.
yeah.
But also, I'd say, at least in my opinion, and especially during that time, yours were just a step above, right? Like yours were changing my mind about hops again more than any other beer. Especially because you would have never found me buying a double IPA before 2020.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Oh, no.
I would have a taste. People would come on the show and we'd taste them. I don't
Yeah.
mind talking about them, but I don't want one.
Yeah.
Juice Above the Clouds
Yeah.
changed my life when it comes to that.
Changed my life, too, until I brought a keg home. One time.
So
I'm
I
like,
haven't
never
done
doing
that
that,
yet.
again.
Then you were really changed. Yeah.
You know what? I did that years ago with Denogonizer.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man.
I brought a keg home.
Everyone makes that mistake one time.
Never
And it's
again.
like, get home, you have one, then...
You're feeling fine.
Yeah, then you cook dinner, have one, then you have one more with dinner, and then by the time you have your 4th, you're like, what the F just happened? Like,
Absolutely.
Fuck, I'm hammered now.
And I don't get hammered generally. Like, yeah, man, it happens. But
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fucking next day. So no. So I'll bring a 4-pack of juice home, Juice Above the Clouds home, but it's like one a night.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
I know
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
all
And
you
now
need.
I'm like, we're getting older. So now, Jake doesn't know this yet. But we're getting
Yeah, I'll be
older.
30
and it's
this
like,
year, right?
I have like 2 double IPAs and I get 4 in the morning. I'm like, zing, like wide awake. Like, why the fuck am I awake? I got to pee.
Yeah.
I'm going to pee again at 6 and then I'm going to pee again. It's like,
100%. The older thing sucks too. And not just that, like it's all a lot more filling now than it used to be too.
Yeah.
We've been talking about
and
this
we'll put
recently.
on like 10 pounds if you only just drink double IPA all the time.
Oh yeah. I'm shaped like a bowling pin right now. It's all from. But so we're going to talk a lot about hops today, and we're going to focus a little bit on Juice Above the Clouds because I've I haven't had you on the show since I fell in love with this beer, but I've been asking other people about it.
I don't even think we brewed it yet last time I was on.
I really don't think
been
you
like
have.
I think it's been like 4 or 5
But you guys
years,
order it
5
pretty
years.
consistently too, right?
We do, and me and Jason, the bartender right now, I think we bring home most of it every week.
Oh my God.
And it's not that it's not popular, it's just we're guaranteed an 8-pack.
Looking at the
every-
numbers, going like, "Why are we
Yeah.
making any profit off this juice?" What the?
Yeah, if we ever don't order it, it's because Jason and I are on vacation. I think. So, but the more I learned about the beer, the more of a mystery it became to me. And we're going to get into this because because of that, I started asking other brewers, like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
So, all right, actually, we should just skip into it because now I'm going to move on and then come back to it. And that doesn't make any sense. I drink the beer the first time, and I just go, oh, man. Well, first of all, the name describes exactly what it is, right? It's super juicy. It's juicy above almost anything I've had. It's also, in flavor and aroma, complex and something and dry, yet with tons of pillowy backbone, so that it's not so dry that all of the hops you put in it are in my face.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that it has like a Pliny hop bill. I think that you found 7 perfect new school fucking hops and the right amount of crystal malt.
Yeah.
Right? But one day, I'm the one entering the beer into our computer, so I have to go look up a description. And I discover that it's 1 malt, it's 2 row, and it's 1 hop. It's Mosaic.
That's it.
And it's 100% of those 2.
Yeah.
And I think you're lying on your label.
That's like Maui. Last time we were on the show, we talked about Maui, and I remember all listeners chiming in, and no one believed me. And I remember going out on the air going like, hey, if you want the recipe, email me. And I got like 200 emails.
Did you really? Yeah.
And then I'm emailing people, and they're like, come on. Like, you're
like, no
I
way.
get why you said that, because you're lying to everybody. And I'm like, I swear to God, it's 2 row, and it's Mosaic and Citra, and that's it.
Yeah. But you go even simpler with a double IPA, right?
Yeah.
And, with Tasty on the show in the past and his philosophies about crystal malt and when to use it and when to absolutely not, I'm really thinking that you've kind of dialed in this perfect recipe. And you have, but it's 2 fucking ingredients. So I start asking around. I'm like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
So are you ready for some theories?
Yeah.
Okay. I can only name one brewer. The rest of them I don't remember. But one of them is like, well, they must just pick their own Mosaic, and it's the best Mosaic on the planet, and none of us get that good of that hop. And I'm like, okay, maybe.
But
Do you guys go
anybody
to
can go select. Yeah, we go select.
You go to select.
But what's hilarious is we only started going 2 years ago now. First year going was 21
Okay.
during COVID.
Yeah.
It was either 20 or 21 because we literally drove the RV because no one was flying. So I drove the RV while John and Norby just got hammered the whole time.
Weird.
And partied. And I drove freaking 3 states back and forth in 4 days or 3 days. But
Yeah,
but we just started. So, I mean, previous to that, we bought just whatever our vendor
So it's
sold
not
us.
some magic batch that
No.
you got. Yeah.
I will say our mosaics last year were fire. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
okay.
awesome. I love the mosaics we have now.
Yeah.
The ones that we selected this year, we think are going to be good.
Okay.
And I don't know. I love selection, but I don't know. I'll talk about it with other brewers, and they roll their eyes at me. But I'm like, I love selection, but how much in a raw state of form there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love it, but so much changes once it's pelletized, once it's sat for 3 months. Like, it does change. So it's like, I don't solely rely on what I selected going like, oh, this is it.
Right. Yeah. Now all our beers will be good.
Yeah, because I'm just like, I feel like we've been lucked out where we've always gotten pretty good mosaic and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I also know brewers like Brendan, for example, from Liquid Gravity, who won't even make an IPA without Mosaic.
Yeah.
He's tried, and like something compels him to throw in a bunch at some point in the brew day. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's just such a good. hop.
It's such a good hop. It is definitely, I feel like, the biggest household hop for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we can get rid of that theory.
Yeah.
So the next theory, and this is the one I think is the most likely to be true, and that's your yeast selection, not your hop selection.
Yep.
So you're not a Chico ale yeast
Never have
person.
been. No.
Not for any of your beers.
Nothing. One yeast.
Is it the English ale?
Yeah.
And I'm sure we talked about this on the last one.
1968.
Okay.
Now we're using A68 from BSI.
BSI. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We never used White. We used White Labs twice. We had.
That's okay.
Yeah. Not great experiences with it.
Okay.
But
so this one,
we
you
were
like.
always a Y-East customer until about 2 years ago now. 3 years ago, and we like had some weird stuff happening for like 2 brews.
Okay.
And called up Y-East, and they were just like, "Yeah, not our problem. Sorry."
Oh no.
And I'm like, "But I'm telling, we've used your yeast for 7 years.
Yeah, come on.
Have never had this problem." And they were just like, "Yeah, figured out.
Can't
like,
be bothered. Oh
yeah.
no.
So then we were like, we had heard from other brewers. Well, I was actually Justin at Ghost Town about Ondex Lager yeast, which is a BSI product. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, we'll give them RAL yeast too.
Right.
And they've been great since. But long story short, the problem we were having, which is the weirdest thing, because this is brewers, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So we use firm cap in the kettle, and we use firm cap in the tanks. We never get any blow off. We literally fill our tanks like the ladder hooks.
Okay.
So we go, and we've, like I said, we have used 1968 from day one. And so we get new yeast, we build it up, we start with like a 20 barrel of like wheat or basic bitch or whatever, and then we go to like usually Mac Drizzle Gold, and then whatever, we step it up. So first time we're brewing with it, day 1, no blow off. Day 2, no blow off. And this is like on a wheat beer. Day 3, when there's like 0 fermentation, all of a sudden blow off coming out of the tank like mad.
Okay.
And we're like, what the fuck is that? And we're checking gravities. Everything's normal. Beer tastes fine, but it just blows off like 4 trash cans full of blow off. Like,
wow.
After. So like, man, that's weird. Like some must, whatever. So then we repitch it, brew like Matt Gold with it. Same thing. Day 3, just blow off.
Yeah.
For like 24 hours.
Okay.
So then I'm like, okay. So then we canceled that one. I ended up ordering a new one, and it did the same thing. So that's when I called them, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, we looked at our lab. Like, all the numbers are great. Sorry. And I'm like, well, can I get like a refund? Like, nope, 'cause it's not our problem. It's in our numbers. And I'm like, I'm done with you guys. Like,
come on, do a little customer service here.
I'm like, we have literally brewed the same way. We have changed nothing. We pitch cone to cone. We harvest the same days. Like,
and you repeated this experiment now twice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they're just like, and they're like, can't help you. So we switched it up. But yeah.
Okay.
But always English, like an ESB strain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I thought that would be the most accurate answer, but also because, so not everybody is, not only are they not a fan of that yeast, I think a lot of people don't know how to use it like you guys do.
No one believes me when I tell them that that's what we use.
Right.
There's no way. It's too dry. It's too this, too that. But
isn't it also, so to me, the English ale yeast is also more sort of fruit forward on esters
which
and
I
things.
feel like for us, we do a lot less dry hop than a lot of our homies do.
Yeah.
And we do a lot less, like, we'll do big whirlpools, obviously, but
yeah.
I feel like even dry hopping, we use probably 10 to 30% less than a lot of our homies do.
And yours are crazy,
and they
juicy
can't
hoppy.
believe it, And
Yeah.
I think a lot of that attributes to the yeast esters and the fruitiness and stuff like that, just complements. Especially, I mean, we use a lot of tropical citrusy hops,
Sure.
So that's going to add to it in fruitiness,
So that's what so it was Brendan who said, I think it's the yeast,
Yeah.
right? And I was
well,
like,
he gets it. He's from Firestone.
Yeah.
They use the same thing.
Do they?
And Lagunitas, same thing. English ale strain.
Okay.
On a lot of them. Boneyard, same thing.
Okay.
That was why I started using it, because of
Boneyard. And I remember
Tony.
that part of your history there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
But that being said then, and Lagunitas is a good example, right? So, okay, you use it, and to me you get this more fruit tropical forward, juice forward, hop forward, but not as sweet. Like, I feel like you maybe are able to attenuate with that yeast better than other breweries.
Yeah. Because I know, like, Lagunitas, they'll finish at like 10-14, 10-16, 10-20, 10 whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're down into, 10-06, 10-08. Sorry, we do specific gravity at our brewery. I know all the breweries.
No,
all the breweries are probably cussing
They're like,
at me.
what?
What's your Play-Doh? I'm like, I don't know, man. Let me pull my cell phone out. Let me tell you what
That's
Play-Doh
funny. It's
that
the
is.
opposite out here. That's great.
We're a whole brewery. We're all specific gravity guys. I don't know why. And gals. I don't know why. That's where we've always been that way.
So what does Juice Above the Clouds finish at then?
That's like down to like 10-10, 10-08.
Fuck,
yeah.
that's so. Why are you doing something different to get it down that far? Because you're not. It's just 2-row.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I don't know if it necessarily like. I mean, I feel like anytime I'm not a big chemist. Like, and I know I've talked about that before on the show. Like, not a big water guy. I'm not a big geek on a lot of that stuff. So it's like we're old school still. We still pitch cone to cone. Open up the door real quick, flashlight. Have we hit the racking arm yet? Nope, keep pitching, and we know on each tank at this weld's for like 4 to 6% alcohol. This weld or bottom of the racking arm is 6 to 8%. And if you're pitching a triple, pitch that fucking racking arm or something, it's like, that's how we do it. And I mean, we've always done that. I think, we've talked about maybe this next year going into actually weighing out yeast and doing it properly.
Okay.
But it's like, it's one of those things. Like, I'm still old school. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, why fuck it up? Like, I mean, when we build a bigger brewery at some point, hopefully, like, then you're going to have to. I feel like once you're talking 200 barrels, like, obviously you want to make sure. But
the old weld mark might not work.
We've always done that, and like, I don't know, it works. I mean, we O2 just like everybody else does.
Okay. It's not a bigger pitch. It's not.
I mean, we might probably pitch a little more. Okay. I mean, I know talking to a couple of my other buddies, that are big like geeks on counting yeast cells and calculating, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, this beer's got to asshole, and I'm like, just pitch more yeast. Whatever you calculated, times it by 2. And, but then, you can't. And I'm like, yeah you can. I mean, I'm a firm believer in there is no over pitching. Okay. I know a lot of people argue that.
Yeah, Jamil has been in here arguing that. And I'm like, I don't know. I can't taste the difference.
I don't believe in that. I know. But again, people argue with me time and time again.
Right.
But I also think there's a diminishing return on hops, and people don't believe that.
Yeah.
Because I'm going, like, I feel like a point. If you're dry hopping with 3 pounds per barrel or 6, there's no to me, I don't see a difference. Now you've just wasted money and wasted volume.
Right.
So it's like,
see, I would love to see you brew with that recipe with like a Chico yeast, and find out that you go, oh yeah, no, you have to use 6 now.
Totally. And right? I think a lot of that. I mean, I feel like too, like that's where you get like the heat in some of the doubles. I feel like with that Chico ale yeast, because it is so, there's nothing there to like give it, some contrast or whatever. So I feel like with our yeast, a nice 9% beer can still dry out, but you're not getting that like super dry, like almost harsh. Like sometimes I get like that mild paint thinner, but and it's like,
or it gets too grainy, or
and just sometimes I'm like, man, I wonder what this beer tastes like with our yeast.
Almost peachy, right? Peachy in the back palate.
Yeah.
You got a Pilsner over there, and I can wash this down too.
Yeah.
There it is, right there.
Oh yeah, that's yours right there.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Thank you. The bubbles are flowing in that one.
Yeah, we got to make sure we talk about your lagers too. Now, so you said one yeast, but one yeast for all your ales.
Yeah, so basically first 5 years of the brewery was all one yeast.
Because you didn't do lagers.
We didn't do any lagers. Yeah. We started doing lagers. Well, Freedom Fuel was our very first one, and that was probably like 5 years ago.
I sent that to my French friends that they thought was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Which now Freedom Fuel has turned into like a big deal, and actually this year I think we're going to make it even a bigger. We might even do like a Memorial Day to Labor Day Freedom Fuel is available kind of thing.
Heck yeah.
It's a great beer.
So,
it's a good beer.
Yeah. But now, I mean, that's the thing is like I feel like, especially during COVID, we did a lot more, and now we just took delivery last week of 2 horizontal stackable 40-barrel lager tanks. I built like a cool little custom skinnier, smaller cone 40 that probably use for our IPLs to dry hop in and then send them over to the lager tanks. So
nice.
Yeah. So
and is that Ondex? The like you mentioned?
Yeah, we switched over to Ondex. Same thing. We were Y Yeast. Trying to remember what the hell it was. Bavarian something is what we were using.
Okay.
And then I remember we were talking to it was Justin at Ghost Town told us about it, and he's like, dude, it's such a cool yeast. You can even use it for IPAs and like stuff like that. Like. If you ever got in a bind with your yeast program, like, dude, we fermented IPAs and it's fucking great. Like,
amazing.
So I think we even did our oatmeal stout one time because like we needed to get it in the tank and all we had was lager yeast. And I was like, well, fuck, we can use it for an IPA. Why can't we use it for a stout? Like, who gives a shit? And we're adding peanut butter too. So it's like, come on, it's fine.
Why not?
And it's pretty cool. And honestly, like, we've been stoked that it ferments pretty fast. We do like a step crash too, so a few degrees every day for 5 days, and I mean we can get like we don't release them right away, but I mean crystal clear like this beer in 3 weeks.
Our Pilsner,
Pilsner, yeah.
So you kind of use that tasty method you talked about for years, where you speed it up a little bit, just with temperature, just let it rise.
Yeah, we'll let it go for the first like 5 days at it's low temperature, and then we kind of start stepping it up a little bit, then. Let it rest, and then whether we dry hop it or not, depending on the beer.
Okay.
And then after we do that, then we'll do like a step crash. So because we were having a problem. I think we were, is when Norby and I think it was when Norby and I were in North Carolina brewing with Burial Beer.
Okay.
Who make amazing beer and really awesome crew. And we were like, dude, like, we got this batch of Pilsner. This is when we were still with Y Yeast. And it was like, fuck, it's been in the tank for like a month and it won't clear up. We've rebiofined. We've done this because we don't have a filter.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, this thing will not drop out. And there's a couple times where, like, at a point, we would just can it and just be like, fuck, it's going to drop out in the can. So as long as someone just pours it, you know, and it wasn't like bad, but it wasn't.
It was a Keller and not like a crystal
exactly.
clear.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a million Pilsners out there these days now that are kind of hazy, you know. But I'm kind of a stickler about that. We're Clear Beer Factory.
Yeah,
like, you can't release a cloudy beer, especially a lager, you idiots. Like,
you're opening yourself up to be made fun of.
So we were like, fuck. So I was talking about it, and then he was like, oh, dude, you guys don't like, because we used to go, you know, from say if it rose to whatever 54, 56 in the tank. We just do a hard crash to 35. And he was like, well, now you got to step crash it. Like, I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I mean, people, there's a reason for it, right? I mean, you're probably dropping out proteins at different time or whatever, and it's not shocking the beer or whatever. So we started step crashing it now, and now it's like carbonated. Next day, it's crystal clear for the most part.
Okay.
So,
this is a great beer.
This has been good. It's been taking off. I know Jake's been asking for more and more and more of it.
Yes. Nice. We're all very happy at the brewery to have a light beer around.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten a call back from Y Yeast asking where you went?
Oh, no.
They never called and said, like,
dude, don't get me started about our vendors. I can't stand
This
them.
is going to turn into a Y Yeast rant here for a second.
Or BSG. I love you guys. How about something, you know?
Give us a call.
I only buy your grain and, you know, hear from the rep maybe once every 2 years, you know?
Right.
You're
on
even get a hat
autopilot.
out of them. Oh. I always joke with Norby. I'm like, hey, let's fuck with them. And for like 4 months, let's just put in country malt. And see if they don't know this. They haven't delivered a full truckload every week to the brewery. Like, you know, and he's every time we joke about it. I'm like, we should just do it.
Just give it a shot.
Just give it a shot. Like, you know?
Let's get Steve a hat, huh? So we can represent.
Right. Exactly. He'd be wearing it right now.
Come on.
On air.
Okay. And then, so one more question, just back to the English ale yeast then.
Yeah.
Is there a mash? And I'm sure we talked about this on the last show, but is there a mash temperature trick too?
We go a little lower.
Okay.
You know, we're in the 148 range.
Okay.
Definitely a little lower. But other than that, I mean, you know, it's just same old jazz. It's just so main reason why we always started using it was, well, hey, it's kind of what I started commercial brewing with. So I got to know it pretty well.
Okay.
You know, I'd use it, you know, standard home brewing, right? I used it for my ESBs. I used it for English pails, and I used it for, you know, maybe a stout or two here and there, but never, I don't think I ever brewed like a, you know, because again, when you're home brewing, especially in California, you make your IPAs with 1056 and you make your English ales with 1968 and, you know, and whatever. So, but I remember when I first started brewing with Tony, I was like, you know, and again, he's, you know, Lagunitas, Firestone, he was at Deschutes, like, you know, some of these big guys, they use that. And we just loved it because, I mean, when you start a brewery, I mean, I had no money, right? I started with a couple $100,000, $150,000. It was like, it was tough, you know? So it's like you're trying to use as many resources as you can. So it's like, I mean, some of these guys that are, you know, are a 5,000 barrel brewery pitching 7 different yeasts, I don't even know how they do it. Like, I mean, your cost of goods sold have got to be $1 million, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, if we can get a yeast that flocculates a ton, you know, creates a shit ton of healthy yeast, cool, we can go cone to cone and whatever. So, like, for us...
And that's still what you do now?
Yeah, we'll get, like... We will do up to 25 generations, and then some of those generations will actually go to 4... I mean, so, like, Norby and I were one time, like, talking about, right? We get, like, 70, 80 batches of beer out of one pitch, you know? So it's, like, which is cool.
That's great.
And so, like, you know, we'll do ferment. Like, we're going a little longer now. We were, before we got some more tanks, we were kind of pushing it, like, no. And it was crazy, man. We do collabs, and people are like, are you kidding? Like, because, I mean, you know, we pitched 20 barrels into a, you know, an 80-barrel tank, and I remember the first time we brewed with Alvarado Street, JC, Wade, and all them came over to the brewery.
Yeah.
And, like, I remember after the first pitch was in the tank, they were like, dude, is that fermenting? Like ripping, like splashing out of the blow off. And I remember Wade going like, oh, no, that's just like the oxygen, It's still the oxygen. I'm like,
no.
Nah, bro, like this shit will be ripping. So by the time we got the third batch in there, it's just like, and he like could not believe it. He's like, sometimes we'll wait like a day or two for our yeast. I'm like, dude, if our beer is not rapidly fermenting within like 10, 15, 20 minutes, it's like alarming. It's
That's
like, what's
insane.
happening? Why is this doing this? Like,
wow.
Yeah. So,
and will you go up? So it'll be like a pale, then Maui Wowie, then a double.
Yeah. So once we get the main pitch going, so like whenever we get the starter, no matter what we do, it's something light. Like it's got to be in the 4.5% range. So we either do like Berry White, Basic Bitch. We used to do like Windmill Wheat.
Okay.
Back in the day, we used to like Hella Light with it and stuff like that. Like so, it had anything under 5% is usually like where we'll start. So we do that. We'll rock a 20 barrel batch of that. Build it up. From there, we'll step to a 40 of like Matt Gold or like the Pale Ale we're bringing next. For the festival. Like whatever. We'll go to something like that. Sometimes even like a 6% or something. Then once we go that, then we'll go to like a 60 or an 80 of Maui or something. But then once it gets out of the 60 or the 80, go wherever you want to go with it.
I see.
Like take
20
over to a Basic Bitch and take 60 over to a double IPA, and then that double IPA is going to go to an 80 barrel of Maui, and from the 80 barrel Maui that can go back to a 40 and a 60, and like so we'll just kind of pitch. I mean, it creates so much yeast. I mean, we dump.
So I wonder, and you probably taste it. I wonder. So my palate's not so good that I can taste variation in all beers, but in the beers I drink a lot, I can taste variations.
Yeah.
So like Pale from the Crypt, I can tell sometimes it's a little different. And the same with Juice Above the Clouds. Yeah. It's always fucking great, but I drink so much of it that I can tell when it's different. I wonder if, because since the recipe's the exact same, and it's only 2 ingredients, do you think sometimes it's the generation of the yeast?
Could be. Yeah, and I think too, like, there's certain times with our hops, like, I mean, it's like, I remember even this year, like, Maui slightly changed, right? Because, I mean, our new Mosaic is different than last year's Mosaic.
Right, yeah.
Citra is pretty similar, but the Mosaic was a huge difference this year. Because last year's Mosaic, 2020 crop Mosaic, was good but not great.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it had to do with the massive fires. Yakima was on fire for a long time.
Yeah.
We didn't pick any smoke taint, but it really made the crop different. Like it was just, I mean, our weather was so wonky because of all those fires,
Yeah.
So, and then last year's Mosaics were crazy good, and then this year's Mosaics are
okay.
They're good. They're
so
not.
They're still just crop
They're definitely
variation.
not popping. And then we asked our vendor even like, what's up with it this year, and apparently they got a massive snowstorm in like March that just effed all the crop up this year. Like every farmer we talked to when we were in Yakima is depressed this year.
Oh no,
like, just down. Numbers are down. Everything's down.
No.
Like everybody was really sad up there this year.
Just what we need.
I mean, the hops are good, but it's not like
they
definitely didn't make their money that they wanted to. And and I guess it was all because of this snowstorm in like March or something. Yeah.
Yeah. We just need another disaster, don't we?
Yeah, more. Let's keep them going. Sock it to us more.
All right, let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. I can't believe we got all through talking about Juice Above the Clouds without having Juice Above the Clouds. We're going to take a break. I'm going to get some of that in my glass. We'll talk about some more hoppy beers because we got lots to do.
Talking about another
here.
juice.
Yeah. You guys are big on the juice.
A whole series, yeah.
And we're going to talk about you being a clear beer house. So hang in there. You listen to the session, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the session. Thanks for hanging out with us. We've got Altamont Beer Works in the studio with us today. We're hanging out. We're talking hops. We're talking about my favorite beer, which we went the whole segment talking about and not drinking. I'm still new to this. Maybe I don't know. So we got a little Juice Above the Clouds.
We don't need to tell people that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think I just felt like if we start with Juice Above the Clouds,
discipline, right?
Yeah. But
we do a Pilsner to freshen up the palate a little bit,
Yeah, we did. That was a fantastic Pilsner, too.
Yeah, we're stoked on it.
I did get in trouble with Juice Above the Clouds one time.
See, everybody's got their
just
story.
Got their one story.
Yeah.
I was camping, though, luckily.
Oh, that's okay.
But
out in the woods.
I went on an 8-day camping trip to Death Valley to do a bunch of off-roading. And I brought exactly 8 Juice Above the Clouds. And I hid them. I didn't share them with anybody. Because my plan, I was on vacation, and I like to finish. It's like my nightcap.
One
beer.
a day.
My nightcap.
stash.
It's like my last one. So on like the last fucking night, I went a little harder during the day than normal. And everyone goes to bed. I sit up under the stars. I'm like, I'm drinking my last Juice Above the Clouds.
Yeah.
And I drink it. I'm doing fine. I'm having a great time. Shooting stars in Death Valley. It's
Perfect.
great.
Yeah.
No problem. I go to bed fine. Everything's fine. I wake up probably 45 minutes later, maybe an hour, because I got to pee. Not abnormal when you're drinking too much.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're camping.
But I stand up in my tent, and I immediately can't walk. I fall over. I got drunk while I was asleep.
Wow.
Like, it tipped me over. I walked to the tent just fine. There was no problems. It took me a half hour. I crawled half the way. I fell into a bush because I had to pee still.
It happens to the best of us.
So
Blame the booze before.
Yeah.
I'm proud of the fact that I went to bed solid.
Yeah.
I didn't make a fool of myself
And you didn't
anywhere.
piss your pants. So
Hey, yeah.
True
But
that.
I went to bed sober-ish, and I woke up an hour later completely hammered.
that caught up to you.
It was a fun time, though. I laughed a lot that night. I woke everybody up laughing and falling into the bushes.
Everyone thinks it's a bear. Fuck.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, you guys, you've never brewed a hazy beer.
No.
It's just not your thing.
Not our thing.
And you have shirts that I love that make beer clear again.
Says it on the can, too.
It does say it on cans.
It does,
You've won our hazy versus clear competition
Yeah.
3 times,
Yeah,
maybe,
couple times, I
with a
think,
clear
yeah.
clear beer. I often use your beer as an example to teach people, like, hey, don't worry about what the beer looks like. Here's the things you like. You like the juice. You like the tropical.
Yeah.
Low
bitterness.
Low bitterness. And mouthfeel.
High aroma.
And then they'll try and they'll go, oh, yeah, no, that tastes like a hazy to me. And
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And you know.
Close your eyes.
Have you ever had a hazy that
Let's
you
get
did like?
kinky over this beer. Let's put a blindfold on.
Right, yeah. Well, we just had Vinny on the show a week ago. I haven't published it yet, but he brewed Happy Hops in his mind to prove that hazy beers can be
My
clear.
favorite beer he makes.
Yeah, juicy and
Super good.
have you ever had somebody's hazy that you were like, oh no, that's good?
No,
Did you like-
and there's plenty, obviously, when we always got, well, for instance, like, we brewed with Moonraker, 5 years ago now. My son just turned 5 yesterday, or on Halloween.
Great
And we went up there, probably the first week in November, I think. And that was right when my wife was we're home and we got the baby acclimated. And my first time out of the house was going to Moonraker to do this collab.
Nice,
So,
yeah.
of course, the crew's we're driving you. You got to go party. And I'm like, all right. And this, obviously, Zach was there still and all that. So, obviously, the whole Moonraker crew was like, we're getting Steve fucked up on hazies and we're putting them all over Instagram and all this stuff. So me and Norby just get wrecked. I remember drinking I think I had 5 Holy Hermits, which are double IPAs, and I had 4 of theirs. And
no.
I'm not gonna lie, I was that next day and that night, my stomach was so. I was in the bathroom 30 times that next day. Yeah. But it was hilarious. They had a great time with it. But I feel like back in the day when I felt like some of the solid hazies I thought Modern Times was making some really good ones.
Okay. So you've had nice ones.
Me and
it's
Norby
just
get
not
yelled
for
at
you.
everywhere because I think Sierra Nevada is one of the better hazies, and everyone gets all pissed off. And I'm like,
I don't
they even won the
disagree.
bistro with the hazy, and people were pissed. And I'm like, how could you be mad? It's a good beer.
is a good
it's
beer.
a good,
Yeah.
clean beer.
They
Don't
took
be
the time
mad.
and researched how to do it.
Yeah.
and
I'm
mass
like-
produced it with low oxygen.
I get it.
They
It's-
spend a lot of time because their whole thing too is shelf stability, right?
Yeah.
Which is hard to do with a hazy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the smaller brewers brewing these hazy, good for you. But it's a smaller batch and it's going off the shelf a little faster. Sierra's shipping that stuff around the country, right?
Well, let's
so
be
you're right
honest.
when you say they did their research.
How many hazies are great one day and then 2 days later just totally turned?
Yeah.
And it's and again, a lot of that was happening more at the very beginning when no one really knew.
Yeah, people have gotten better.
No one knew the yeast. No one knew how to do this. No one knew how to do that. And I think, that was kind of where we kind of
Things were just getting out of control.
Yeah.
People were
And
just
also-
throwing stuff in beer, I felt like.
So I think, and without having a too long of a hazy versus clear discussion, around here, even though we still get a ton of requests for hazy, it seems like it's swinging already back toward West Coast.
It shifted last year.
And, yeah.
Like, it shifted hardcore.
And I think a lot of it has to do, and we should talk about like just your sort of juice series in general. You have tons of different juice beers. I think it's because brewers got better at that too.
Yeah.
Like just going, okay, what is it that everybody loves? And I also think, and it's not that you're not skilled brewers, the hops are just better than ever too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting these varieties that are accentuating what people want. And what you want.
It's insane to think, we got to hang out with Hollenberry is one of our big hop vendors up there.
Okay.
And this year, during our selection time, Matt's dad came over, Bud, to meet us because, he hadn't met us through all the years. First year we went up there is during hardcore COVID and all this stuff. And so his dad came over, and it's like to hear their history that about 10 years ago, because we're turning 10, he's like, we sold to 3 breweries.
Yeah, wow.
Bud, Miller, and Coors.
Right.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, now I deal with 5,000 breweries from all around the world selling 70 varietals, where we used to only sell like 5 varietals to 3 breweries in the world. For our,
I'd be like, those are the good old days if I was him.
And his grandpa started this in the early 1900s or whatever, And it's just crazy to see the shift. And and now it's like, look at Yakima Chief, especially, and some of these people, it's like they've got a whole group only making these new experimental hops, which is why every year we got a new 10 experimental hops, and then it takes about 5 years before it gets a name, or 4 years.
Or hop products, right? Like y'all use cryo now, right? So then you're taking hops we already have.
Kind of happy hop oils aren't very big anymore. I was never a big fan of this.
You never were a hop oil fan?
I feel like how people are sensitive to diacetyl or to phenolics or whatever.
Yeah.
Hop oil, I mean, even if someone put in the kettle, I could be like, that's got hop oil. I don't know what it is. I think we're kind of jaded too, because we had our very first batch of Shelter IPA. It was all kind of jacked up, and we thought we could dose some hop oils in it to make it better.
It bit you in the ass.
It was kind of like what you learn as a homebrewer, right? Like, you can't take a bad beer and make it a barrel-aged beer. You can't make it a sour. You're still going to start with a good beer.
Right.
But, this was... fucking first week of brewing, I couldn't dump a 40-barrel batch of IPA. Like, come on.
Terrifying. Yeah, the bank account was already empty.
I'm already bankrupt. I'm already broke, living on my parents' couch.
Dropped the flashlight.
Yeah.
Oh, man. What about these new yeasts that are meant to bring out thiols and things like that? You might have to have a third yeast.
Yeah. I mean,
in the brewery. Have you messed with that at all?
We haven't messed with any of them. I know back in the day we did 3-4 years ago, we did, I think it was Conan yeast one time.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was our first anniversary beer.
Oh, okay.
Which is now Adventure Ale, which is coming to the Pale Ale.
Oh, yeah, you entered that.
What was that year?
But I remember people were like, hey, this beer is like this juicy yeast, but it clears up, because a bunch of people used it in hazy beers. So you can use it for both, but it could be clear.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think it was, we had some brewers tell us about it. I think it was that one. I think it was called Conan. I think it was. And so we do it, and of course we get like one batch that we can't fucking flock out, and it's not clear.
Oh, yeah.
So we were stressing, but...
What about this other thing, I don't think I've talked to anybody in the studio about it, but Phantasm.
Phantasm, yeah.
Which is what, like grape skins or something? It's
like the grape skin and like fruit dust and some other weird. So it's like all sorts of weird.
But it's supposed to.
So I had a beer down at Bergen when we were down there brewing for their anniversary. We had one.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie. I got like an allergy attack from
it,
which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I had like a mild one, but Matt, our VP, he's coming here tonight. He full-on allergy attack, could not stop sneezing, just horrendous allergy attack, yeah.
Well, that's interesting because...
And it's a weird thing. I think it's more set for hazy beers, maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's supposed to... I think it's supposed to bring out tropical, but it's also supposed to...
And it's not a hop, which is even crazier.
It's not, but the grape skins also come from New Zealand,
it's that white grape. It's Sauv Blanc, yeah.
I mean, like Marlborough
It's
region.
kind of like your blend between, say, a Nelson and a Hallertau Blanc.
Okay. It's interesting, though, that you can use New Zealand hops and maybe not get an allergy attack, but the grapes are growing in the same region.
Totally. It's all the same
That's
shit.
very strange.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to ask
and
about
then
it because...
even we were just at YCH when we selected our Simcoe up there, and they got a cool little pilot brew house there, and you go up to their tap room after you select and drink a bunch of beers, and and I tried one of these beers when we were down at Bergen too. They have a new like frozen pelletized wet hop.
Okay.
And it's pretty fucking cool. So you're going to be able to brew with wet hop year round. Not that it's the same as
Someone
like
told me about this. Yeah.
Ghost Town,
Lagunitas
right?
has.
Ghost Town. Yeah.
I wanted to have that beer, but Norby had told
I
me
loved
that,
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Anna and Norby,
Frozen Fiend, right? That was
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
like Anna got something weird from it. Norby was digging it, but not as much as me. Matt got like heartburn from it.
Matt's always got
I
something.
was like, I love this
that might
shit.
not be the beer's
I'll make
problem.
every beer with this hop. Like I drank like 4 pints there. I was like, it is
yeah.
so
I wanna
good.
try it now.
So I'm gonna get some of them and we'll brew a beer with them.
Mess with that.
But it's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty similar to like, because I mean, I always thought like my favorite Lagunitas beer is Born Yesterday.
Yeah.
And they have the coolest machine to do what they need to do for those hops, which you're like barely allowed to see. I got to see it one time, but I was told
At
like,
Lagunitas, they have it?
I cannot
Okay.
take my phone out. It was like
Wow.
you will get shot if you take your phone out.
Amazing.
It's this proprietary machine that's badass that they can
good
get
for
their
them.
wet hops and do Born Yesterday.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay.
And it's massive.
So you like new hop. You don't like just new variety. You like new hop products. You're fine
Yeah.
with experimenting with any of that.
Cryo's cool, you know. We love cryo a ton, you know, and it's
I feel like it's become a
obviously-
norm a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah.
when it first came out, obviously every brewer is sticker shocked, right? You're like, oh my god, $28 a pound, $30 a pound. But then when you actually start, you know, looking at it, okay, if I'm reducing my vegetal matter in the kettle and reducing in the dry hop, like for a long time we never used it in the kettle. We only used it on the dry hop side.
Okay.
Then a bunch of brewers were using it on kettle side too, using wherever, you know, and it
Yeah.
makes sense, right? I mean,
It evens out because you're getting less loss. Is
yeah,
like,
because you're getting less absorption,
Yeah.
you know, because you have less vegetal matter now. So, because
Okay.
you can reduce your rates to 30 to 50% less.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, if I'm throwing 5 boxes into a, you know, whatever batch, I can do 2.5 now, theoretically.
Okay.
So,
That's a big difference.
yeah.
It's a lot over the course
at the
of a
end
year.
Of the day, it might be double the price, but you're also going to get more volume. So maybe it's better now, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like the product's like, when you get like a really good cryo and rub in your fingers, like it feels like the stickiest weed you've ever had in your life. Like it's amazing shit.
I
Like,
mean, that was the best description I always got. They're like, oh, it's just like Keef. I mean, it's just
dude,
like this
it's
sticky.
unreal. Yeah. It's like if you got your grinder and just put it in your hand, just like
Yeah. All right, what do we have? We have 2 more, both with the same hop. We have Cashmere Juice, which is a double IPA, and then we were going to try Cashmere
fuel.
Fuel.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
is your Fuel series a single hop series? Is that what you do?
So it's kind of weird how it's kind of
Unfolded.
it's kind of both ways. It's like Jake, pour 'em
Yeah,
up.
let's pour those so
Yeah.
we can taste and
Which
talk.
one do we want to do first? The Cashmere?
Side by side.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
So
yeah.
we did obviously Freedom Fuel is our very first one.
Yeah, okay.
And
Which
that was our
was-
first lager.
And what hop
Good
was...
night. That was I think it was like Citra and summer hops, Australian summer hops.
Okay.
I had 1 box randomly, and I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's throw it in this." Like, you know,
Here we go.
Reading description of it, I'm like, "That's gonna pair great with Citra, right?" Because it's like candy, like cool, like tropical, like strawberry, all
Yeah.
that shit.
Okay.
So that did that. Then when we actually started brewing more lagers, we decided to like, let's use this fuel series and turn it into a way to showcase one hop, right? Because this is a lager yeast, very neutral. So we started doing a shit ton of IPLs. Every single batch was pretty much a single hop IPL. Then, you know, we've done a couple fuels where we've done multiple hops. I'm trying to think of the other ones.
what about what about Nelson Fuel? Is that
100%
just Nelson?
Simcoe fuel, 100% Simcoe. Then we did Eureka
Okay.
fuel. We've done
We did Maui
Cashmere
fuel.
We did Maui fuel.
That was
That's
Oh,
two
I
hops.
never saw
favorites.
Maui Fuel.
Yeah,
what was
Maui.
that?
Fucking
so
great.
good.
Simcoe,
fire.
but was it Simcoe Citra?
No, Citra Mosaic.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that's a Citra
a
Mosaic.
mess.
Well, then what was the difference than oh, because it was
Lager
lager.
yeast.
Okay, that's
Lager
lager.
yeast.
Okay,
Yeah.
now I get
Yeah.
it. Now I
Yeah.
get it.
And Pilsner.
So Nelson Fuel. Now I've had many people's 100% Nelson beers.
Yeah.
Most 100% Nelson beers
Matt's here.
are total shit. I'm sorry, but they just and I love Nelson.
Yeah.
I didn't used to. You and Original Pattern made me start loving Nelson hops.
Well, Andy Better, he's
But-
from that side of the ocean.
Right, he should know how to use it. But a lot of single hop Nelson, not good. But so I wonder if it's the lager yeast or something. Because every time we get Nelson Fuel, 4-pack comes home with me.
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, and I feel like it pairs well with our yeast because Nelson Stash is the same. So Nelson
that's
Stash,
the other one. Nelson Stash. I
Nelson
always bring
Stash
home. Yeah.
started because we couldn't brew Nelson Fuel a lot because we didn't have enough lager yeast in the brewery.
I see.
So then we just finally decided to make
Nelson
an ale
Stash.
version of it.
Yeah.
So we call it the Nelson Stash because it's a giant pothead. And
Which, by the way, is the best label on the planet, hands down.
And the funny story about that is that we never got a cease and desist for that one.
Which is
So we
because it's an
got-
artistic rendering of Willie Nelson.
So we get a certified letter at the brewery one day.
Oh.
And I see it's from the Nelson estate.
Official.
I'm like,
You're like, oh no.
oh, fuck. All right. Well, that was
we go
fun
again.
while we did it. That's cool. Print the last posters we can and yada, yada, yada. And we start reading the letter and they just go like, we actually love this.
Wow.
We think it's great. We love the rendition you've done. We hear the beer's amazing. And they were like, Willie's got his own weed line. Willie's got his own coffee line. This is great.
Let's add
Wow.
And so they never said
What's the
it.
and but?
So
There's no
then-
and but.
No,
You-
and then we called them and we talked, and they're like, just make more of it, guys. This is great.
Oh my God.
So we literally have the letter framed next to
Hell
the
yeah.
Nelson
Poster,
fuel poster
yeah.
at the brewery.
You got a letter
Yeah.
from the Willie camp
Yeah.
with a stamp of approval.
and they were just stoked on it.
Dude, that's so cool.
And didn't
Did you
say-
send a Kate? Did you be like, do you want us
No,
to send you?
they just never called us back, and it was fine. Like we just all went on
Oh, my
our it
God.
was like hilarious.
So I would have been terrified reading that letter just because I'm a stress case.
100%. When I see a certified letter, I sign it. I'm like, oh fuck, what do we get into now?
What am I going to spend the next week dealing with?
Yeah, how much is this going to cost me?
That's so great, though.
And they just were like, this is great. Willie loves it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, let me take this opportunity. Folks at home, if you haven't had Altamont, if you're not in the Bay Area, go to altamontbeerworks.com and you can look at all their beers. They do pictures of everything. And find the Nelson Stash label.
Nelson
'cause
Stash and Fuel.
it's the best
I've seen
label.
lookalikes. Just saying.
Yeah, it's so good.
John Ernst, by the way, killing it on that artwork for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the first one I'm trying now is Cashmere Juice, which
Yeah.
is a double IPA. So is this 100% Cashmere
No, so it's Cashmere Mosaic.
and Mosaic? Okay.
Yeah. So basically, Juice Line, again, was all designed to impart hazy qualities, but with clear beer.
Into a clear beer. right.
So this one, I remember trying a beer not too long, a couple years ago, that had some. Brees makes a blonde roasted oat, which is killer. It's like crystallized to like crystal 20 almost, but it's an oat, right? So I fucking loved it, and I was like, this gives such a cool mouthfeel, a little bit of that candy sweetness that you like out of a low crystal.
Yeah.
And just that oaty mouthfeel. So I was like, Cashmere and Mosaic are like my two favorite hops now. And it's like, I was like, okay, let's do this. So load up a bunch of oats, the golden naked oats, 2-row, or I guess not gold, they're blonde roasted oats. And let's just load this up. And man, the first time I tried it, you get that like thick oat mouthfeel. Like, I mean, it feels just like a hazy beer.
Yeah.
But then when you look at it, it's like crystal clear.
Yeah.
Like,
And you said you
so
don't
that's
even...
why when you said you wanted juice, it's like, I got to bring them cashmere juice. So,
Absolutely. Well, and we carry, anytime this comes out, we carry this too. It's a fan favorite over here.
Yeah.
And
I mean, even now, you just get that on your tongue, that like
Oh,
thick.
yeah. It
like,
lingers.
You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
so, and here's, all right. So with hazy beers, I've talked about this on the show before, like it wasn't just people converting from West Coast IPAs over to hazy beers. It actually converted new beer drinkers who
Yeah.
didn't think they could like IPAs into hazy. And so I've credited that. I first started getting questions about that at our other location in Colorado, which has since closed. But I'd get people coming in and saying, hey, how come all of a sudden I like IPAs when I order this one? And I would explain, well, it's softer, it's less bitter, right? So you're doing, obviously, I'm preaching the choir here, but you're doing the same with a West Coast beer.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for like hazy opening that door, right?
Totally.
You
well,
like you said, you
that's
were
where
already
we gained
doing
our frustration because
Yeah.
we were
You're
already
like,
doing
already-
that.
right.
You know, I mean,
But
when
you
we
had
opened-
the moniker IPA that people in their head already said, I don't like IPAs. I'm not going to try yours.
That's every day with Maui Wowie. I hate IPAs. Try this. Like, this is fantastic. I'm like, it's a 6.5% IPA right there. You
Trying
know?
to tell
It's
you,
like-
yeah.
And we started that at this was 10 years ago in Livermore, you know, like
Yeah.
opening a brewery in Livermore 10 years ago. No one knew what a fucking growler was.
Right.
No one knew craft beer, honestly. Like we had
No,
the
but
ale
your
house.
truck fit in.
We had the ale house. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then if you did know, people would say, "What are the IBUs?
Yeah.
of course.
Do you have any Imperials?"
Which
Right?
we don't
And
get
then it
asked
was-
about IBUs anymore.
I was
No,
going to
no,
say
right,
that's a
because nobody wants
controversial
them.
topic.
Well, and I remember one time, I still remember this chick came in with her mom, and it was funny because like when we opened the brewery, No one liked IPAs. We're Coors Light drinking town, a bunch. And we had the ale house. This was the small before they made the big one. It was just a tiny one, whatever you had 10 handles on. So we have people coming in that are just like, what do you have that's light? What do you have that's this? Like, all this. And I'm like, well, try this IPA. I don't drink IPAs. I don't like bitter beer. And, like, we look back at our older, when we started brewing, right? Like, when I started brewing, it was like, Arrogant Bastard, Torpedo, like all these, which are heavily aggressive, bitter. And I get it. Like, I didn't like it either. I remember sophomore year of college, a buddy bringing it over to our Friendsgiving celebration. I took a sip and was like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever put in my mouth.
Yeah.
And went back to my PBRs. Like, and
Absolutely.
that's what I did,
Same.
So we had to start getting people into drinking them. And I remember having Shelter at the time. And they would drink it. Wow, this is nice. It's not bitter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that's our IPA. That's how we're going to make beer here. That's how you should try our beer and blah, blah, blah. And so this chick comes in. It was hilarious with her mom. And she was from San Diego. And she's sitting there, and it's in our tiny little taste room. And I just got done brewing. I think Norby was still in the back. I'm opening the taste room. And she's just going off to her mom about like, oh my God, I'm from San Diego. Like, the more IBUs, the better. Like, hit me with 150%. All this stuff. And so she drinks shot and she goes, that's what I'm talking about, Mom. She's like, try that. And I'm just hearing this girl go off about 180 IBUs, 150 IBUs, and Stone's making a 300 IBU beer and all that.
Yeah.
And she just loves IBUs. And I just go to her like, you don't like IBUs? You like flavor and aroma. And she goes, no. And I'm like, this beer is like 48 IBUs, 50 IBUs. If you were actually, if you really want to calculate it, it's like 0 because there's only Whirlpool and Dry Hop.
Right.
But
but that's what it used to mean.
Totally.
IBU.
You were cooler if you drank big IBUs.
You were, but you also did get flavor and all that more often with high IBUs before both New School hops and New School hop techniques, right?
Yeah.
So she was not 100% wrong, but wrong. Because we've since learned it's not from IBUs.
It's people want flavor and aroma.
Yeah.
Versus drinking your standard light beer, right?
Yeah.
Like that she's probably drinking in college.
Yeah. Okay,
So
what's
it's pretty
the other
funny.
cashmere?
So that's cashmere fuel. So that is 100%
lager yeast
cashmere. Yeah,
and 100%.
lager yeast. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So when did you just find that doing single hop beers are better with a lager yeast, or
We just thought it was fun. It became
yeah.
a series. I think I don't know who it was. It was John or Norby. So I don't know. We just decided like, hey, let's make this a series.
Yeah.
And then originally when we really started, we were like maybe thinking about like Simcoe fuel. We kind of idolized that can off like an old gas can, like an old race car gas can,
Absolutely.
So we're like, oh, maybe we'll just kind of keep them all like gas themed, and then that kind of went out the door because then we're like started doing like, ooh, this could be cool for this one. This could be
Like the Mosaic one was crazy.
Mosaic fuel with all the tiles. Galaxy fuel was super sick with like a huge spacey galaxy thing.
Oh, your labels are awesome.
Eureka fuel. We did a Gold
Eclipse.
Digger.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one yet.
Eclipse fuel is cool.
It's a
So
whole
Eclipse
different-
fuel is
yeah,
super
that was
sick.
crazy.
That John was able to talk to our label vendor, and we strung the labels where every label for 6 labels was a different part of the Eclipse.
Nice.
So theoretically, when you got a 4-pack, you should have 4 different parts of the Eclipse.
Oh, that's rad.
So that was pretty cool.
That's very cool. Your design's awesome, but even turning things into a series, I think is cool.
Well, and I think for us, doing the fuel series is because it is an IPL series. We don't do them all the time. It was a way to. There's so many times when a vendor's like, I can get you 1 box of this really cool hop.
Yeah.
And for us, what are you going to do in an 80-barrel batch of an IPA with 1 44-pound box? You can't. So for us, it was like, let's use it in a 20-barrel batch of an IPL. So we could throw 11 to 15 pounds in the Whirlpool, and then we can dump the rest of the box in dry hop and really see what's up with this hop.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to blend a hop and really know what it did?
Right.
So it was like, and some of them have sucked. Like, not sucked, but just
didn't showcase the same.
So I'm
good.
glad you said that because not everything works, right? And not everything is meant to be single. Although I assume you tend to go like you've probably had one come across your desk or your palate that you're like, yeah, no, this can never be a single hop beer.
Oh, dude. Actually, whatever. I'll say it now. Fucking who cares?
Yeah. Come on.
It's gone.
Nobody listens.
So, actually, I'm going to say because we're on the Brewery Network. So Chad,
Yeah.
You know, Chad's been here forever. Mosier comes
Oh,
over to the
my
brewery.
Chad.
Your
Yeah,
Chad.
okay, yeah.
Your guy.
Yeah.
So Chad's over at the brewery one day, and this is right after he moved to Texas. He
Okay,
came home for
yeah.
something. And Chad's like, hey, man, like, we got this new hop at Bankhead. Like, it's called Sabro. It's going to be Sabro,
Sabro.
whatever you
Yeah,
want to call it.
yeah.
It's going to be the newest, best hop. Like, it's insane. Like, coconut, tropical, like, fucking awesome. And we're like, oh, cool. Like,
Sounds great.
Chad's a good brewer. Like, fuck yeah, I'll listen to him, you know? So we're like, get like 3 boxes in, and we're like, let's do a Sabro fuel.
Okay.
So we fucking brew Sabro fuel, and it's done fermenting when we go to dry hop it. And we're trying, and we're like, oh, hell no.
Oh,
We
no.
cannot continue with this. Like, this is not going to be good. Like, no one's going to drink
What
this.
did it taste like
Because I
on its
remember
own?
we did Hella Light back in the day, because Hella Light used to be like kind of a single hop series too. We used to showcase hops with it because it's a 3.8 session beer.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a great canvas to showcase hop. And we did a Sriracha Ace Hella Light.
Okay.
And people were like, something's wrong with this beer. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, that
nothing's wrong. The hop just sucks. Like,
Right. Yeah. On its own.
yeah.
It's just really what it tastes like.
So we did this Sabro, and it was like, I mean, it was fine. It was coconutty, but it was like, this is going to be gross. Like,
Okay.
this is going to be gross.
It's
Like, we
just too-
cannot. So we're like, at the time, we're like, what the fuck hop do we have that's like the most abrasive and everything that will cover it? And we're like, Nelson. So
We had
one
Sabro.
batch of Nelson fuel was an 11-pound Whirlpool, but then like a 66-pound dry hop of Nelson
Yes.
to just cover it up. So
Yes.
that was like 4 years ago. So
So that's enough. So
someone's gonna remember that. Oh, I remember.
They'll be like, yeah.
that Nelson fuel's coconuttier that time.
Oh man,
I actually thought the combo was badass. So any brewer wants
it's a
to do
great learning
Sabro-
series. You
Nelson
know, like,
Sabro.
being able to
Yeah.
try different hops by themselves is awesome.
That's
love
why I
that.
think it's a cool idea to do the series, because whether you're a beer nerd or not a beer nerd, if you just shop enough, you see, oh, it must be kind of similar. So I keep buying it because of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you get to learn a little bit about the hop.
Yeah.
So Nelson, another one. Now, like you guys call yours Nelson Stash, and I always think of it like in my head, it's because you got this like incredible stash of Nelson. Because again, before COVID, and I started drinking hoppy beers of yours again, I never liked Nelson before. I thought it was weird, and I also didn't like kerosene and dank.
Yeah.
Now.
The diesel. No,
The
one likes
diesel,
Diesel, thank you.
Diesel is a
sounds
great
great.
word.
Now,
Yeah.
if that crack would
Solid.
open of yours and it's all diesel, I'm like, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
Well, and I
can't
feel
wait.
like
Nelson is definitely
Nelson
top
went
But I used
through,
to hate that.
Nelson went through one of those things, right? Like, I feel like Galaxy's going through it right now. No brewer will tell you they love their Galaxy anymore. I mean, very rare. Galaxy has gotten horrible.
Interesting.
And I think, talking to the hop vendors, they're like, because it got so popular, they had to start just half-ass farming it just to make it creative and like keep
I
it
see.
going.
Okay.
And they do come from such smaller areas and like higher,
There's a lot of money. They got to keep it going.
Exactly. So like, look at it. Like Nelson, when I first started brewing with it, was 20. I remember one time Kyle back when he was at New Glory or something, because now he's somewhere else. But whatever. I remember like one time, like I think it was Nell or something. They're like paid like $35 a pound. I'm like, holy
Wow.
shit! Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna make with that?
Yeah.
But now you can get
Yeah.
Nelson for like $15 a pound.
Right.
It's
And
like,
it's super popular.
Yeah. And
But I also think because like those kind of dank diesel qualities have come through even more.
Yeah.
That you craft brewers have embraced and figured out how to use.
Yeah.
Because I used to, like I said, if I would crack open and it was all diesel and dank, I'd be like, ugh, well, it's kerosene.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, it just makes me thirsty. Like
Well,
I
there,
just want
you-
another drink.
New Zealand hops aren't as bad, but we're learning a lot as brewers ourselves. I mean, speaking on behalf of Altamont, is like, when we first got Galaxy was like the most vibrant tropical hop, like insane. You'd open a bag and the whole brew would be like, what is that,
Yeah, yeah.
And the hop was very pungent, but also very tropical. Now I feel like it's losing a lot of its notes.
Okay.
And the alphas, New Zealand, not so much, but in Australian, the alphas are ridiculous, like 18, 19%.
Oh, wow.
So, like, we had a bad batch of Galaxy hops, and we did, like, our normal fuel recipe that was, like, 1 pound per barrel Whirlpool and a big ol', whatever. And then I started talking to, like, I remember Zach, from Moonraker Slides, like, I started talking to a bunch of my other big hoppy brewer friends, and everyone's like, oh, no, dude, like, Australian hops now, you got to do, like, half in the Whirlpool.
Because of the
Because
alpha.
they're so high. It just becomes this, like, dirt, abrasive bitterness, like, earthy dirt.
Right.
just not even fun. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not even like a
nobody-
CTZ bitterness. Like it's just
Yeah.
like gross.
Right.
Like, you know.
And you have to be careful how long it sits in the whirlpool.
Yeah, so then we did, and then we dry hopped like normal. And I'm like, this tastes awful. Like I remember one batch, it was just not good. So now we've just learned that because we've done Vic Secret Fuel, we've done Eclipse Fuel.
Sultana fuel.
Oh, that was the worst.
That was pretty bad.
That hop sucks.
I was gonna bring that up with the other one. Yeah,
I
was
kept
like,
trying to remember which one sucked, and it was
Yeah.
Sultana.
It was taking me a
that's funny.
second.
Same
Secret
thing.
and
We're
Eclipse
like,
are fire, though. Those are both
we're like
really good.
reading about this one hop. And we're like, oh, it sounds great. So we brought some in and did a fuel, and we're like, not good.
No.
Not a cool hop.
I think that's ballsy of you. Why not bring one in and like just mix it into something? You're like, I want to see what it does.
It was COVID, bro. You got new. Everyone wanted a new beer every day, so we'll
Yeah,
give you a
well,
new beer.
We did get that.
COVID kind of spring rocketed a lot of the canning, and
Yeah.
luckily
Oh, yeah.
for the Altamont thing, that came in line with the timeline. But people love those one-offs, those
Yeah.
puns, right? There's always
Yeah.
a new pun.
Well, and
it turned
we
into
sold a
series
lot
you would
of
recognize,
beer
yeah.
because of that. Like, and people they were coming in every fourth day.
Dude,
for
I
new-
mean,
yeah.
I mean, people were just going stir crazy, and it's like they wanted something new and stay.
Yeah.
And not
And they had
every
the money to
brewery
spend on it.
transitions so fast. So it's like maybe your favorite brewery you couldn't get cans from,
Right.
Maybe for a month. Sometimes if you're using the can van, you could only get one appointment a month or something. You know.
You guys
So,
have your own canning line, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you before
We
2020?
got it in April of COVID.
You did? Okay. So
So
it was on
it was-
order for
It
months.
was
Just
supposed
lucky.
to be there in February.
yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be there in February.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, cool. Well, it got delayed because of COVID around the world.
Right.
And then it showed up in April, and we got to fire it up at like the end of April.
Thank
There.
God, yeah.
So we were using the can van twice a month, 2-day run. So 4 days a month with the
Okay.
can van before
Okay.
that. Yeah.
All right, I hate this, but because we have a tap room full of people here for you, I got to wrap us up. We're up against time. But
All
I have
right.
one more question for you.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have to be the end-all, be-all. You can change the answer next time you're here, Steve.
It's not final.
It won't be that long next
Clear
time either.
I hope not. In fact, we're going to do your anniversary party in
He's been
February.
harassing me for.
I'm a dick.
Steve will be here this weekend, right?
I'm gonna try. I don't know if I can.
I'm gonna
on
try
Saturday.
too.
Well,
But Justin is going to do our anniversary party.
I'm going to come to your anniversary party, and I'll probably bring some equipment to record that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
maybe
No,
we'll
I wanna
publish
record
that.
it. It'd be fun.
Yeah, we'll record that. And let me tell you, you already know one reason. I've been bugging you for 2 reasons to get in here. One is the one I already told you. You helped me rediscover hops. So I appreciate you for that. And I've been excited to ask you the questions I've been asking other brewers about you.
Yeah.
So that was cool for me. And then the second reason is just you're a ton of fun. Oh, wait, there's a third reason. I'm only doing in-person shows because I'm zoomed out.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'm
dude.
doing local breweries as much as I
Anytime people call,
possibly
so
can.
you can just call me. We can
just-
also just
yeah.
talk on phones. Like
Yeah.
we don't need to Zoom everything
Just-
anymore.
yeah.
Just call me like we used to do.
Okay. You only get 4 hops. So instead of your
Ugh.
Desert Island album, you still have to make a variety of beers for your customers to want to do it, but you only get 4 hops for the next, I don't know, let's call it 5 years to brew a variety of beers. What are they?
All right,
You
I'll
can
go.
change it next
CTZ.
I'm gonna go CTZ. Yeah.
No shit.
I'm gonna go Cashmere.
Oh, really?
I'll
You're
go
surprising me already.
I'm going Mosaic,
Gotta have Mosaic.
Not surprised.
and then four.
It's either Citra or Eclipse, right?
I mean,
No Nelson?
I love myself some Citra. If I was gonna go super variety, I may go Nelson then.
Yeah. That's a good, that's almost a,
Which actually are the adventure ale we brought for the Pale Ale Festival.
yeah.
It's Cashmere, Nelson, and Mosaic.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay.
It's- yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Our fresh hop cashmere was good too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That came through nice.
Yeah, we did a fresh hop cashmere this year from Thompson Farms out in Tracy.
Yeah, shout
Okay.
out those guys.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, shout out
Yeah.
sales crew.
Yeah,
that
sales
was their
crew.
brew. Yeah.
Attaboy,
No,
Jake.
we were glad to have that. We didn't know if we
But
were
yeah,
gonna
I
have
would
one.
do. I mean, CTZ. I just love it. Like, we love that dank. I mean, that's who we are, right?
Okay,
I mean, we
yeah.
we love that, and it's such a cool hop. Like
You can use it everywhere.
everywhere.
Yeah.
You can use it first wort. You can use it in. I mean, literally, YCH's Columbus Cryo.
Okay.
Is like the best cryo on the face of the planet.
Is that right?
It is so fucking good.
See,
Like,
all these
unreal.
brewers come in here with their newfangled names, and you're
yeah.
like, no.
Dude, old school still.
Columbus.
I mean, I still love Citra. I mean,
Yeah.
my dog's name's Citra. It's great.
Yeah, okay,
But,
yeah.
I mean, Normie will yell on
Rest
the
in
air that
peace, Amarillo.
Citra's dead.
Yeah.
Citra's dead. And then 2 years ago, we were
We still use it.
selecting hops. He goes, oh, Citrus good this year. I was like, I told you, it's not dead, man. Citrus not dead.
Citrus not. That's your next hoodie you need to make.
Yeah, Citrus not dead. Do 100%. Oh, speaking of cool labels, Citrafeel is an amazing label.
Yeah,
that's
that is
a really
cool
cool
one.
label.
I don't think I've seen that one yet.
Oh, it's super
It's wild.
psychedelic.
Yeah,
And,
got a lot of stuff on there.
It's wild.
You have an in-house marketing person
Yeah,
who does
John.
all your design?
John
It is
Ernst.
John. Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought so. People, I had some, they weren't complaining about you. Just a little bit of a jealousy factor sometimes when brewers come in here. I'm like, hey, have you seen the artwork on Altamont? And they're like, yeah, well, they have an in-house guy.
Yeah.
That's
They get the
hilarious.
per-
Well, his
And I'm like,
Instagram
well,
is in-house video
and I'm
guy.
like,
or
well, maybe
something.
you should too.
No, it's
I don't-
at in-house guy.
In-house guy.
At in-house
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Not
We
that we
call
should be
John.
funny, too.
I call John the in-house in your way guy because he leaves his shit everywhere. He'll come shoot, and then it's like 8 hours later, the tasting room's opening. It's like, is John's shit still up front? They're like,
Right.
he always leaves it. He leaves all his beers. He leaves everything because he's
Walking through the
He's
brewery
got to
in
get
his
the
sandals.
shot, and when he gets it, he's so stoked he runs back to his office.
gotta go to work.
and leaves all his shit.
Oh,
But,
man. That's the in-house
yeah,
in
and
the
it's
way
actually
guy.
cool now because John got to hire his first 2 employees this year, so we have 2 more on the marketing team.
Nice.
So they're handling a lot more of the web, the store, the swag and all that shit.
They're
So
super rad
John's really focusing even more on labels, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah, shout out to
killer,
the marketing
and
team.
the artwork.
We have a
So-
team.
Well, it's a smart move. I do think that the beer obviously has to back it up. And in
Totally.
your case, you've got both sides of the coin. But I'll also say, if you're going to have mediocre beer, don't have mediocre marketing.
Totally. Yeah. Well, like for me, like it came when I started the brewery. So John, that's why at our anniversary deal, John will be on the panel and Norby because both of them are the only 2 in the company that have been there like before we started, like
Day
when
ones.
we built,
Yeah, yeah.
So when I met with John the very first time in 2011 when I signed our first lease, it was like, it was a buddy of a buddy. We all went to high school together. He went to Livermore, I went to Granada, and I was like, dude, call John because I posted on like Facebook, like,
Yeah.
hey, I need someone to help me with a logo for my brewery, and everyone's like, you're starting a brewery? I'm like, oh yeah, whoops, forgot yeah, and
that too.
everyone's like, call John, like a bunch of people of my buddies, and I'm like, dude, I haven't talked to John in like 6 years. Last time I saw him, we played golf, and like, so finally called him. He comes over, and I was like, here's the deal, dude, like. I'm coming from like the wakeboard, snowboard industry, and that
you're like,
industry
all right,
is about branding, right?
Yeah.
And he went to San Diego State and worked for a firm that did a bunch of like branding for extreme sports and race cars and shit like that. And he's like, I get it, because I told him, I was like, I want windmills. I'm down with windmills, but I was like, I don't want the lakes and trees and rolling hills of grain. Like I want like more of an aggressive branding of like, I want people to want to wear my shirt, and he was like, dude, get it. Let's fucking rock and roll. And I mean, here we are still 10 years down the road.
And it works.
It.
I went and browsed to folks at home. Go to, again, altamontbeerworks.com, and you can scroll through their merch, which I did today.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man. I almost always only wear my own logo. It's very rare that I wear somebody else's.
Yeah.
But I'm scrolling through, and I was like, okay, I need that. I need that.
We can bring you
I
some
need
stuff.
that.
Well, and even speaking of branding, like you were saying, sometimes you just have to have it, right? And
Yeah,
I remember being in our neck of the woods in the Bay Area, kind of high wealth, a lot of
People
lot
wanna
of
support local,
professional
too.
people,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember talking to Tony, my mentor at Boneyard, going like, I remember when we first started, I was like, hey man, like you're obviously called Boneyard and your shit's all skulls and hot rods
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Yeah,
all
it's
this
badass.
shit. I'm like,
badass.
what's going on? Like, I was like, I'm a little worried being in our area, we're in more of a pretentious area. Like, do you think an aggressive branding will work? And he goes, here's the deal. He's like, in Bend, we have the same thing. We got all you rich Californians that are coming ruining our town.
Right.
And they move here.
Yeah.
And he's like, that guy that makes $20 million and has to wear a suit every day, he wants nothing more than to throw on his Boneyard shirt on Saturday and
Yeah.
go drink beer with his buddies.
And look like a
his black
badass.
tee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, we do tees and hoodies in so many other colors.
We just
Yeah.
did
Black
freaking-
still sells the best every time we
course.
do anything in black.
Yeah.
Same as here.
And
Look
it's
at- look
slimming
at us.
for us beer drinking.
It really is.
fools.
Yeah, cheers to that.
Or people, like, both on the Brewing Network site and here at Hop Grenade, they'll come complain. They're like, oh, you got to do
Oh,
something
yours
other than
black.
black.
Yeah.
And I go, okay. And I do it, and it sits on the shelf for
Totally.
6 months.
And then you close it out and you make no money on it. And
yeah,
it's like,
yeah. And they're like,
sorry.
okay, how about I just print you one fucking blue shirt,
Print black shirt.
Yeah.
and the rest
Yeah.
are...
And the
Exactly.
closest selling shirt is going to be like gray. It's like super
Dark-
close.
dark
Yeah.
gray.
Dark gray.
Thank you for mixing it up.
Yeah, with a black pocket, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to get us out of here. We didn't even get through all the beer, so
good.
so you're right. A shorter interval between your next visit, and we can talk more about hops and more about different beer, too.
Love it.
I'm excited. In February, we're going to celebrate your 10th anniversary?
10 years. So, we're going to end up throwing a big party off-site because I want my staff to be able to enjoy a day because we throw so many awesome parties at our place. But I'm like, this is 10 years. This is big. I want everybody to be able to party.
I like it.
But that Thursday night at our brewery, which you'll be at, we're going to do a super fun night of basically 10 years of beer with me, Norby, and John.
Yep. Nice.
So basically, we'll sit and moderate with you like we're doing tonight for an hour. We'll take a break and then open it up to questions. And
great.
I know we're going to have people there that have been customers since day one.
Absolutely.
It's going to be awesome. So
and we'll work on getting it live streamed so people can watch or at least recorded. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
Well, I feel bad I missed out on the liquid gravity and all that stuff. So
all good. Well, more than anything, thank you for reminding me that hops are cool. Yeah.
Hey,
almost single-handedly.
Well, and that's the shitty thing now is like because we've been preaching that the whole time.
Right.
Like, why do you only do hoppy beers? Because we love them. That's what we drink. We love pails. But now we do so much other shit.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, what's up?"
What?
Like, what do you do? I'm like, dude, we got like 6 lagers on. We got 3 wheats. We got 2 stouts. Like
Don't
all
worry,
this
we have
shit.
480s full of Maui. You'll be okay.
Right.
We'll still have Maui.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
love
even
it 'cause-
tonight we brought a blonde coffee stout, Anna's recipe, our lead
that-
brewer,
which is
Excellent.
delicious.
pretty
Props-
cool.
props
Which
to
we'll
Anna.
let
Good
you
job.
try it afterwards.
Try it
but
after. Okay.
such a cool beer, right? And it's like no one would ever know Altamont to do a blonde coffee stout.
Well,
But
that's all right, though. I think
we're
people
doing.
do expect quality in anything
Yeah.
that comes out now. So you've got, like, room for that, and I think that's
I
exciting.
mean, even my wife this day, we had like talk this morning, and it was like hilarious. We're like, I get down sometimes, right? We're just in weird times right now, and like she's like, "Hey, be proud of yourself," and she's like, "And I hate to say it because I hate breaking about this, but you make really fucking good beer. You guys really make good beer."
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, well, that's what Justin always tells me every time he's met. He's like, "I drink a shitload of beer, and your guys' beer's always good." Like
Always. And by the way,
So-
I'm like you. I can tend to get down, and I feel like the Brewing Network's done okay, and the Hop Grenade's done okay, but I never want to
Weird
rest
times
on the
right now.
latest
It's
thing.
weird,
And it's
yeah.
weird times, and there's always a new thing.
Yeah.
But your wife is right, and I'll never get tired of telling you, like, just keep it up.
Yeah.
And I like it too, kind of seeing some of my regulars who are here to see you tonight.
Oh, yeah.
They were fans of all this beer and knew about this beer before me. I go out and make fun of myself. I'm like, I'm kind of
we were out in
I'm a late
Livermore.
bloomer.
We were out in Livermore. Nobody knew us. Come on.
Yeah.
And we fought the fight, and we're still here. No hazies.
still here.
We keep IPAs going.
Amazing. Still here with no hazies.
No hazies.
Still here with the clear.
Another shirt.
And Maui's like 60% of our production.
It's such a good beer.
Yeah.
Solid.
Maui,
Cheers,
wow.
y'all. Thank you for listening.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. You can check out AltamontBeerWorks.com. You can learn all about their beer and order the swag. You can order beer if you're in California, too. You can also
Absolutely.
pretty much always get Altamont beer here at the Hop Grenade and a bunch of places around the Bay Area and beyond. So check them out. Looking forward to February when we get to celebrate their anniversary. And we got a lot more to talk about next time.
Yeah, we got anniversary leading up to it for all you local heads, too. We're going to do 4 beer dinners leading up to our anniversary, too.
Oh, nice.
So trying to stick to 4 of our accounts in Livermore that have been around forever.
Yeah.
So it's going to be awesome. So we're going to do custom beer dinners.
Doing it up for 10.
And I'm in
And
charge
then
of
we'll
all
be-
that. Yeah.
Nice.
And then
Oh.
we'll be doing a fat celebration offsite where we're going to have bands, music, beer, all that good stuff all day long.
To be continued.
I can't wait for my invite.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, good luck in Pale
Cordially.
Fest this weekend.
Yeah.
Which, if you're listening live, you can still get tickets. Just go to thehopgrenade.com. If you're not listening live, it'll be done by the time you hear this show. Thanks to Altamont. Thanks to all you for listening, and we'll see you next time right here in the session. Take care of yourselves and your beer. The Session is a production of the Brewing Network and brought to you by More Beer. Check them out at morebeer.com. Find more content and live video of this show on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Brewing Network. For sponsorship opportunities and information, please reach out to advertising@thebrewingnetwork.com. To reach our hosts, contact feedback at thebrewingnetwork.com.